Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. So in this video lesson, we're going to create art from cleaning up. Yeah, I don't know. so as we work on our projects, we use a palette and we clean up. And with me, I feel so, well, this is all wasted. Now, when I work with oils, when I was working with oils, when I would scrape off the palette, I would actually take all that stuff, leave it on a glass sheet to dry, then scrape it up, and I can use those dried bits of oils into other oils to create texture. So like a DIY texture medium. With this here, you can sort of do the same thing, but I can use it to make backgrounds, collage material, all that other stuff. Now, I do have a piece that I've already prepared from actual lessons that I did, but I just want to show you basically in a nutshell what I do. So as I prepare my palette, I spray water, I come in with a brush and I paint, and then I rinse my brush, and just I do whatever, and we're mixing, well, not this messy, but just mixing and creating mixtures. Oh, we're gonna get some green, and let's change that value a little bit. Let's create a new value here. Oh, this is really I like that. So you see where I'm going with this, right? So we've got phthalo blue. Ooh, wow, phthalo blue. Well, let's make a cerulean blue. Let's get some on. So I just mix, and you end up with all this stuff. Oh, I guess you should know what the colors I use, right? So with the last, I think it was over 3 or 4 projects, I used these colors: the Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, Cobalt Teal Hue, Yellow Green Light, Primary Cyan, and then the Decor Traditions, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Hansa Yellow Light, and Opaque Titanium White. Which colors I'm using is not important. What's more important is when I'm doing this, what I'm going to show you, so you don't get mud, it's always best to use colors that kind of naturally flow into each other on the color wheel. So if I was to this one, so I'm thinking we're right about here. So on the color wheel, it goes to a blue that leans towards violet, a blue that leans towards green, a blue that leans a bit more towards the green, definitely blue that leans more towards the green, yellow, green light, then a yellow that leans towards green. So they kind of naturally flow. If I were to throw in a red in there, it would work with the technique I'm going to show you, but it live like this, it won't work. Because what's happening is, as you do your painting, your baby wipe has time to dry. So I've got a baby wipe here, and all I was doing basically is, while I'm working, I'm cleaning up. I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm just literally just cleaning up my work surface. And then you end up with something like that. Let me just get some more water in there. Actually, let me do it the right way. Get some more water in there, and I can clean up and clean up and clean up. Okay, so this is an extreme. So this is not how the classes went, but you see when I'm working how I clean up, and then each time the baby wipe has time to dry. So when I was finished, had done my last cleanup to the point where it was saturated, what I did was I just laid it flat and kind of pulled it tight, and I let it dry. And then after it was dry, I went to the sink, just rinsed it out. So any of the unpainted areas, because there's like the baby wipe stuff in it, the fluid stuff in it, just rinse it out, put it back on a palette paper. And I just did that before I started filming, and just stretch it out. So let me move this out of the way, and let me just clean that up. And the same thing will work with paper towel, but you can see that, as with all the colors mixed together, you don't get any interesting patterns. So the best thing to do is, for each painting project, is to do this. Just wipe your surface down, let it dry, wipe it down, let it dry. That way you get individual layers that dry with each cleanup. So this is what I have, and it's still damp, and I clean up my hands. So this is a great way to create collage material and backgrounds without having to intentionally make them. Reuse your stuff, because you know what? This, because it's got paint, it can't go into, in our area, this has to go in the garbage because there's acrylic paint on it. It can't be recycled or anything else. Well, we can upcycle it. Okay, we can upcycle it into something. So I stretched it out. It's still damp, and you can see the beautiful, interesting colors, interesting textures in there. So I've got 4 little cards here, and what I can do is, I did this before getting it wet, is you lay it out. Oh, I need one more. You lay it out into a way that, you know, you can fill stuff up. Come on, I need another card. With these, what I like to do, what I like to do is to find cards that are thin, that could use a bit of extra weight to it. So could do something like that. Then what I would do is, you know, dry it, cut it. Where's my scissors? I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this while it's wet because I don't need it to be dry. So I'm going to do a couple of videos with showing what you can do with these. And I'm thinking, oh, I cut that a little short. Uh-oh. I cut that a little short. Does it matter? Because if it doesn't fit in the card, I can use it for something else. The other thing to keep in mind is that this, depending on the baby wipes you use, they may shrink as well. So I'm going to just cut one more and work on those, and then do something else with that one. So all I would do, I'm going to take the thinnest one. That's the thinnest one. So from here, I would use the matte medium. I'm going to use a DecoArt medium, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you something else that you can use as well. And I'm going to just grab some medium, and the same as all the other types of projects, you put the medium on first. Now whether you use this wet or dry, mine is damp because it just helps form to the paper a little bit better. Choose a side I like that side, so I'm going to put the medium on that side, and you can do that. So what you can do as well, you know what, I'm going to talk through this so I don't forget. If you don't have medium, you can use decoupage medium. Now the decoupage medium that I would use would be the DecoArt decoupage, and you can use the regular medium. You don't have to use any special one, because they've got ones like for outdoor use and napkins and all that. Now, because this card is bent, what I would do from here is to apply a piece of wax paper on it with a book to force it flat. And then what you would end up with, and then let it dry, and then just trim along the edges. Okay, so I'm going to take that and put that aside. And then the other thing I could do is, let's see, I'm going to find a piece that's got some interesting color but not too wonky. I like that. That would be nice for an actual quote saying. Let's see, I think, you know what, I think I'm going to use this one. So then I can take another card. Let's just take this card here. And what I could do is I could take this and then cut a strip. Let me just cut a bunch of strips actually, just to show you. And cut them straight. And you can make, you know, glue pieces on top, and they're semi-transparent. I don't know if you can, or you can see through it. And of course, obviously the parts that are not transparent, you can make strips, and you can collage that down, and you can do all these different things with it. What I kind of like is, let me just trim this down a little bit more. Just so you can actually see it. And I would glue this down, let it dry, then trim it. I wouldn't trim it while it's wet. And then I can turn around and pick a quote and glue the quote right on top of that. So it's a great way to reuse some of your cleaning materials, and upcycle stuff that would end up in landfill. I mean, stuff is so random, and you can create some really nice effects. And this is just the one that I did, and I can, you know, glue that down, glue it on the back to strengthen a piece like this. Now I can really stretch this to glue it down, but again, put it in between sheets of wax paper so it is flat, and having it stretched out is going to make your piece nice and sturdy. I mean, look at that. That is really pretty. All right, so this is starting to dry now. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're putting this on raw paper, give your paper a light coat of matte medium or decoupage medium, something like that, just to create a barrier layer, or even a little bit of gesso. Because if you do this technique on raw cardboard or raw paper, that paper is going to absorb all the moisture, and you're going to have some wacky bending and curves and all that stuff. And you're still going to have to flatten it out, but just put a layer of medium just to create that barrier seal. That way it sticks to the paper and the paper doesn't absorb all the moisture. Alrighty, so let's just quickly cut this out. Again, wait for this to dry first before you do the trimming. There you go. And then now you have, what the heck was that? That's really crooked. And now you have a little piece of artwork that you've got for background, and you just have to embellish it. There we go. Done. It's instant. To do this with watercolor paints or acrylic paints, that you would have to actually do it and blah, 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 blah. This way you're using something that you used for cleaning up that would end up in landfill and upcycling it into a piece of art. All right, so that's it. That was just a quick demonstration. I hope that you enjoyed it. Now, what I'd like to know from you, first of all, if you're watching this from YouTube, click on over to the Facebook group. The link is in the description below. That's where I'm doing all my feedback. My question to you guys is, have you ever used a non-traditional art product in your artwork? Meaning paper towels, any type of cleanup material, rubber gloves, you know, anything you use to clean up. Have you ever used that into your art? So what I'd like to do is get you guys to share your ideas of what you did use. Pictures are even better. We'd love to see some ideas. And then what we'll do is, you know, if enough people submit their ideas, then what we'll do is we'll pick a couple, and then we'll try using those techniques to create art based on somebody else's inspiration. Alrighty? So I look forward to that activity, and I hope that you get to participate. All right, I'm going to clean up and get ready for my next project. Until I see you in that lesson, stay inspired.